Man, what a night for the Philadelphia Eagles. Walking into Minnesota and coming out with a statement win like that, that's not just a regular season victory. That's a reminder to the entire league that this team isn't going anywhere. Think about what they just pulled off. They walked into one of the most intimidating, ear-splitting stadiums in football, a place where visiting teams usually crumble, and they silenced that crowd with a gutsy 28-22 win over the Vikings. And here's the thing. This wasn't a team playing with swagger coming in. This was a group under pressure, 2 straight losses, questions flying everywhere, people wondering if they'd lost their edge. The quarterback was under fire, the offense was being called predictable, and the fans were getting restless. But all that changed tonight. The Eagles answered in the loudest, most confident way possible. From the very first snap, you could feel it. There was an attitude shift. They didn't come out playing scared, they came out playing angry. They won the toss, took the ball, and basically told Minnesota, "We're coming right at you." 12 plays, 75 yards, and half the first quarter gone. That opening drive wasn't just about points, it was about tone. It was about sending a message that this team was done playing reactive football. Jalen Hurts looked calm, composed, and in total control. And when he rolled out and launched that 37-yard dart to A.J. Brown for the touchdown, you could almost hear the collective sigh of relief from every fan who'd been waiting to see that spark again. That throw wasn't just accurate, it was bold. It was Hurts saying, "I'm still that guy." And let's talk about Jalen Hurts, because this was one of those games that remind everyone why he's special. 19 completions on 23 attempts, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a perfect quarterback rating. That's not just a stat line, that's surgical football. Every decision he made had purpose. Every throw had conviction. It wasn't just about arm strength or athleticism, it was about poise. The kind of calm you only see in elite quarterbacks. You could see it in his eyes, in the way he commanded the huddle. When the pressure came, he didn't flinch. He stood tall, trusted his reads, and delivered. That's leadership. That's what separates a guy trying to find his way from a guy who owns the room. And man, his connection with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith? That was electric. It's like they decided before kickoff that they were going to make a statement of their own. Smith was unguardable. 9 catches, 183 yards, and that ridiculous 79-yard touchdown where he just torched the secondary. That was art. Smooth route, clean double move, and Hurts dropped it perfectly in stride. That's chemistry. And A.J. Brown, just as dominant. For catches for a buck, 21 and 2 scores, including that absolute dagger late in the game. That final deep ball on 3rd down, with the Vikings bringing a full blitz, was the definition of clutch. Most teams, most quarterbacks, would have played it safe there. Not Hurts. Not this offense. He saw the pressure, trusted his guy, and threw a strike that ended any chance of a comeback. That's fearless football. You could feel the confidence growing with every drive. The offensive rhythm that had been missing for weeks suddenly clicked. The spacing was right. The timing was crisp. The play calling made sense. For the first time all season, it felt like everything worked together. And one of the biggest differences? Hurts spending more time under center. It sounds like a small thing, but that tweak changed the flow of the entire offense. It gave the run game more life, made play action more dangerous, and allowed Hurts to read the defense more clearly. That's smart football. That's adapting, not panicking. Even Saquon Barkley, who didn't light up the stat sheet, played a crucial role. He kept the defense honest, found a few lanes, and helped open things up downfield. Sometimes it's not about explosive runs, it's about balance. And Kevin Patullo, stepping up with the play calling, deserves real credit. He didn't abandon the game plan when things stalled. He stuck with the run enough to keep Minnesota guessing and used Hurts' mobility to his advantage. You could tell they trusted the process. Sure, there were a few 3-and-outs, a couple of misfires early, but when it mattered most, they found their groove. Defensively, it wasn't a perfect night. The Vikings moved the ball. They found some holes. But every time Minnesota got close to the end zone, Philly slammed the door. 1 touchdown in 5 red zone trips. That's championship-level defense. They bent, but they never broke. That's what you want to see. And man, Carson Wentz looked completely lost out there. You could tell facing his old team got in his head. That pick 6 to Jix Hunt was brutal. He telegraphed it from the snap, didn't see Hunt drop into coverage, and paid the price. That play flipped the momentum and lit up the sideline. You could see the fire in the Eagles' defense after that. Suddenly, they were swarming, hitting harder, and flying to the ball. Jalen Carter was a wrecking ball up front. He lived in the backfield, blowing up plays before they even started. Moro Ojomo came up with a clutch sack that forced a field goal. Josh Uche, even in limited snaps, made an impact with pressure late in the game. And again, this defense isn't perfect. They still give up some big runs. They still have third down issues. But when the field shortens and the pressure ramps up, they show up. That's the kind of resilience that wins games in December and January. And let's not overlook how calculated the offense was in targeting Isaiah Rodgers. All week, people were hyping him up as one of the league's best corners, but the Eagles clearly didn't buy it. They went after him early, often, and with zero hesitation. 7 targets, 5 completions, 151 yards, and a touchdown allowed. That's film study paying off. That's preparation. That's execution. It wasn't random, it was surgical. They identified the weak spot and attacked it relentlessly. You could feel this game meant more than just a number in the win column. It was about restoring identity, about proving they still had that edge, that hunger, that toughness that defines this team. Losing 2 straight can shake a locker room, but what separates contenders from pretenders is how you respond. And this was a response. This was a message. Jalen Hurts, after weeks of criticism, stood tall and reminded everyone why he's the face of the franchise. He didn't hide from the noise. He absorbed it and turned it into fuel. When you watched the sideline, you could sense a shift. Guys were locked in. The energy was contagious. Every big play built momentum. And by the time Hurts launched that final touchdown to A.J. Brown, the entire team looked like it had rediscovered its soul. That's not exaggeration. That's what it looked like. Confidence returned. Swagger came back. The offense looked dangerous again. The defense looked opportunistic again. And the vibe? Completely different from the last 2 weeks. You could almost call this a turning point. Because sometimes a single game, especially one like this, on the road, against a tough opponent, can reset everything. You could feel it in the way the players celebrated. The way Hurts carried himself walking off the field. The way the locker room came alive afterward. This wasn't just relief. This was belief. The Eagles looked like a team that had been reminded of who they are. And if this is the version of Philadelphia we're going to see moving forward, the rest of the NFC should be nervous. Because when this team is clicking, when Hurts is locked in, when AJ and Smitty are torching secondaries, and when that defensive line starts smelling blood, there aren't many teams in football that can go toe-to-toe with them. While most of the spotlight rightfully landed on Jalen Hurts and that explosive offensive display, what really made this win feel complete was how much deeper the performance went. This wasn't just about one guy having a big night. It was about an entire team shifting its mentality. From the first series, you could tell the Eagles weren't just trying to hang around. They were trying to impose their will. They went for it on 4th down twice on the opening drive, and both times, it sent a clear message. No more playing scared. That kind of boldness had been missing the last few weeks. Too often, the offense looked hesitant, like they were waiting for something to go wrong. But this time, they dictated the terms. They took control of the tempo, and that confidence spread through every part of the team. You could see the fingerprints of the coaching adjustments all over this win. Kevin Patullo and the offensive staff didn't overhaul everything. They refined it. They leaned into what works. They put Hurts in better positions to make quick reads, mixed in more play action, and used motion to confuse the defense. By putting Hurts under center more often, they created a rhythm that allowed him to see the entire field. That one change opened up so many possibilities. The run game had more life. The deep shots came easier, and the offense looked unpredictable again. The 79-yard bomb to Devonta Smith was the perfect example. That play didn't just happen by luck. It came from preparation, trust, and perfect timing. Hurts read the safety rotation, saw Smith's release, and dropped it right where only he could get it. That's what elite quarterback play looks like when confidence meets execution. The offensive line, too, deserves recognition. Facing a defense led by Brian Flores is never easy. His scheme thrives on confusion, disguised blitzes, delayed rushes, and unexpected pressure from every angle. But the line held its ground. They weren't flawless, but they gave Hurts enough time to operate. And when the pocket collapsed, Hurts made it look effortless. He moved with purpose, not panic. He used his legs to extend plays without abandoning the structure. That touchdown to A.J. Brown in the first half, Vintage Hurts. Buying time, keeping his eyes downfield, and trusting his receiver to get open. That's the kind of connection built through hours of work, not just raw talent. And A.J. Brown, what more can you say? This guy plays football like he's in a fist fight every snap. He's physical, he's relentless, and when the moment calls for it, he's unstoppable. That second touchdown late in the fourth quarter was the perfect example of why he's one of the best in the league. Third down, full blitz coming, game on the line, and the Eagles don't play it safe. They take the shot. Hurts stands in, takes the hit, and drops a dime to Brown down the sideline. That wasn't just execution. That was trust. That was two stars saying, "We're ending this right now." Plays like that are why defenses fear this duo. But this one wasn't just about the offense finding its rhythm. The defense deserves credit too, because while the Vikings piled up yards, the Eagles made every yard painful. They weren't dominant from start to finish, but they were clutch. Minnesota went 1 for 5 in the red zone, and that's the difference between winning and losing. They bent, but they refused to break. Every time the Vikings got close, someone on defense stepped up. Jalen Carter was disruptive all night, crashing the pocket and making Wentz uncomfortable. Moro Ojomo came up with a huge sack to kill a drive. Josh Uche, even in limited snaps, showed why depth on the defensive line matters. These weren't just isolated plays. They were moments of grit when the game hung in the balance. And man, that pick six from Jix Hunt? That was a thing of beauty. Pre-snap, the defense looked like it was sending a heavy blitz. Wentz thought he had an easy throw, but Hunt dropped back at the last second and jumped the route. He read it perfectly, caught it clean, and took it to the house. That's film study. That's anticipation. And that's how you flip a game. You could see the energy after that play. The sideline exploded. The defense found its swagger. Wentz never really recovered after that. He looked shaken, hesitant, and his timing was completely off the rest of the night. Then came another interception from Andrew Makuba, a ball that Wentz basically floated into his hands. Two massive turnovers that changed everything. Special teams even played their part. Xavier Gipson gave this team some juice in the return game, something they'd been missing for weeks. He didn't have a highlight touchdown or anything, but he consistently gave the offense solid field position. And when you're starting drives closer to midfield instead of pinned deep, it changes your whole approach. You could feel that energy shift. It wasn't just the offense or the defense. It was all three phases contributing, finally working in sync. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. Rumors are swirling around the NFL after an astonishing statement allegedly made by Jalen Carter about the Philadelphia Eagles. Sources claim that the defensive powerhouse, known for his fierce presence on the field, made comments during a private moment that left teammates and staff utterly stunned. According to insiders, the locker room atmosphere immediately shifted, with whispers spreading like wildfire and the usual camaraderie giving way to tension and disbelief. While the exact words are still under wraps, those present describe them as unexpectedly blunt and borderline incendiary. Fans who have followed Carter's career know he's outspoken, but few anticipated remarks that could potentially rattle one of the league's most respected squads. Social media is already ablaze, with speculation running rampant about the nature of his comments, and every pundit from coast to coast weighing in with their theories. Adding fuel to the fire, some reports suggest that Carter may have been frustrated with the team's strategy or internal dynamics, hinting at a possible rift within the Eagles' locker room. Teammates are said to have reacted with a mix of shock, concern, and, in some cases, disbelief, with several players reportedly trying to calm the situation before it escalated further. The franchise has yet to release a formal statement, leaving fans to speculate whether this is an isolated incident or a sign of deeper unrest. While many are waiting for official clarification, the timing couldn't be more dramatic. The Eagles are in a critical phase of the season, and any disruption could have serious implications on the field. Meanwhile, sports analysts are dissecting Carter's body language, past interviews, and even social media posts, hunting for clues that might explain the fiery outburst. Whether it's a passing frustration or a harbinger of bigger tensions, one thing is certain. The football world is talking. Jalen Carter's comments have ignited conversations across locker rooms, bars, and fan forums alike, proving once again that a single moment can set the rumor mill spinning faster than any game-winning play. As the Eagles navigate this sudden storm, fans are left on edge, wondering if the team can refocus or if this shockwave will linger far longer than anyone expected. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.